Good evening, everyone. It is September 3rd. I'm going to call this regular meeting of the City Council to order and invite you all to join me for the Pledge of Allegiance, if you'd like. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. City Clerk, go ahead and call the roll.
Gabriel?
Here.
Newman?
Here.
O'Doherty?
Here.
Pierce?
Here.
Richardson?
Here.
Shumway?
Here.
Somerville? Absent. Cumby?
Here.
And Harrington?
Here.
That is 8 present and 1 absent.
Thank you, City Clerk. We will move on to public comment on non-agenda items. If there's a member of the public wishing to speak to the council on an item not on our agenda, go ahead and come forward if you are in the room. Mr. Schuster, please. We will just need your name, and you'll have 3 minutes. Thank you.
My name's Brian Schuster. 15th, I asked some people, and they said, well, the construction company is hoping to have it done by after this semester, so I'm going to say December, which I think's kind of comical because we have some people in here that know road construction, and asphalt cannot be poured under 68 degrees. So them saying that they're going to have 15th back open in December, I think probably is kind of a fib, or whatever we want to call it. I don't want to call anybody blatant lie, but you know, it's not going to happen. So I don't know if you guys are going to put out a notice that maybe next year we will get 15th back. But as far as it being this year, there's not enough days left. And I went over, and my dad's buried in the cemetery, so I went over there and saw him, and then went over to the corner and just leaned over the fence, and there's not a thing done. 15th is still there as old asphalt. They haven't dug it up or started their work or nothing. I mean, the 10 foot on their side where they're putting in their dorms, that's dug up. But the stoplights and everything are still there, and I mean, that's not going to be there for around. They did cut out the power box. It looks like they used a really cool saw to do that. So I just think that somebody ought to be truthful about 15th, and good luck for next year.
Thank you, Mr. Schuster. We appreciate you bringing that to us. Any other members of the public? Seeing none, we will close public comment and go to the Vice Mayor to set the agenda.
I move that the agenda, excuse me, be set as submitted.
Second.
Motion by Cumby, seconded by Newman. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. All right, folks, the agenda has been set. We'll move on to proclamations, public hearings, and notifications. And I'm going to do 2 of these, and Councilor Gabriel's got 1. So I'm going to begin with Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. Whereas an estimated 15,780 children younger than 19 in the United States are diagnosed with cancer each year, including more than 15 Wyoming children. And whereas an estimated 1,600 deaths from cancer occur in the United States each year in children younger than 19, with approximately 7 Wyoming children losing their battle in 2022 alone. Whereas cancer affects children and young adults differently from cancer that arises later in life, as their bodies are still developing, and even the side effects of cancer treatments themselves can cause more harm to the maturing systems and organs than they do to adults. And whereas parents have reported that they resigned or reduced their work hours after childhood cancer diagnosis and have experienced financial instability due to the rising medical bills and added costs of travel. And whereas September is observed internationally as Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. Now, therefore, I, Brian Harrington, Mayor and President of City Council, proclaim September 2024 as Childhood Cancer Awareness Month in this community and encourage our citizens to raise awareness for pediatric cancer and to support programs such as Jason's Friends Foundation that gives financial and emotional assistance to the victims and their families. In witness whereof, I've hereunto set my hand and caused the official seal of the City of Laramie, Wyoming to be affixed this 3rd day of September 2024. And we have Cameron and Laura here. They don't want to say anything, but I'm going to invite them up for a photo if council's all right with it. And if anybody else is here as well, but go ahead and come forward. So this is a swinging door. Just come on through. Thank you both for being here. Yeah. Thank you, Larry.
Thank you.
All right, this is yours. All right, we'll move around you all. I'm gonna scoot to this side. Sorry, you guys want to scoot? Does that work?
Councilor Doherty, or Councilor Conway?
Yes. Oh, I was perfect, now I'm not. Okay, here we go.
All right, Councilor Doherty, can I get you to slide out just a hair? There we go, perfect. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for raising awareness.
Councilmember Gabriel, we have Bicycle Awareness Month. Headed over to you.
Thank you, Mayor. Whereas the rest of the country celebrates National Bike Month in May, we in Laramie know better. May might bring spring flowers elsewhere, but here it is still trying to remember what season it is. September, with its crisp mornings and golden afternoons, is the true season for cycling in Laramie, Wyoming. Whereas the city staff is thrilled to present the Ritual Mountain Bike Film Festival Tour on September 20th at the A&S Auditorium at 7 p.m. in partnership with the University of Wyoming Outdoor Program. And whereas a community-wide Bike to Work Day, September 27th at First Street Plaza from 7 to 9 a.m. is planned with community partners. Whether you're a seasoned commuter or trying it out for the first time, come join for a morning of fresh air, light refreshments that will make your ride to work the best part of your day. Whereas Laramie is committed to creating a bike-friendly city that encourages safe cycling for all ages, our growing network of bike lanes and trails reflects our belief that a community on wheels is a community that's moving forward. Now, therefore, I, Pat Gabriel, acting for Mayor Brian Harrington, do hereby declare September 2024 as Bicycle Awareness Month for the city of Laramie, Wyoming, and I invite all citizens to dust off their helmets and get their chains and join us in celebrating the joy of cycling. That's oil their chains and get their bicycles ready. In witness whereof, the mayor has set his hand and caused to be affixed the seal of the city of Laramie this 3rd day of September 2024.
Mr. Gavatuller, I have a feeling this is yours.
I don't know that there's much to add to Councilmember Gabriel's presentation. Very nice, thank you. But yeah, no, we're excited to partner with the university in this effort. And I know by saying that weather will be good on September 27th, we'll be jinxing it. So you heard it here first, but that's all I have. Thanks.
Thank you. Do you want a picture, or are you skipping the picture? I noticed you sat down.
I mean,
Come on up. Come on up. We'll do it. Why not? now we have National Food Safety Education Month. Whereas the City of Laramie is strongly committed to food safety and to highlighting food safety's critical role in the health and well-being of our residents through the prevention of foodborne illness, and whereas the Food Safety and Inspection Service of the City of Laramie focuses on protecting public health by working diligently to ensure the safety of the city's commercial food services, and whereas the City of Laramie Food Safety and Inspection Service provides information to food preparers on safe handling, preparation, and storage through plan reviews and annual inspections of commercial food service providers, and now therefore, to further awareness of the value of food safety education, I, Brian Harrington, Mayor and President of the City of Laramie, Wyoming, proclaim September 2024 as National Food Safety Education Month. The City of Laramie encourages the commercial food service providers and residents of our community to celebrate the importance of food service or food safety by increasing their education and practices surrounding food safety measures for the benefit of individuals and families in our community. Who do we have for this one? Thank you for being here. Hey, Cody, can you just click that on for us real fast? Green lights go. There you go. Thank you, Cody.
I speak loud enough. Cody Talbot, City of Laramie Environmental Health Inspector. So carry out the duties in charge of inspections, plan reviews, as you mentioned. With the September being the National Food Safety Education Month, we have a couple things. We're doing some social media posts as well as community outreach at the farmers market, with the big one for my participation on the 13th. And then also doing some education, just completed one with the Albany County School District, and have one Thursday morning at the university. So.
Thank you, Cody. Do you want to come up for your photo? Let's do it. Yes, you sure do.
Everybody else.
All right, that's the end of our proclamations. We're going to move then to public hearings. City Clerk, go ahead.
I'll read the first one first, and then we'll do the other three all together.
Together? Great, thank you.
Okay, notice is hereby given that a public hearing of the Laramie City Council will be held Tuesday, September 3rd, 2024 at 6:30 p.m. at 406 Ivinson Avenue, Council Chambers, and via Zoom meeting for the following purpose. Original ordinance number 2088, amending chapter 10.36 of the Laramie Municipal Code to regulate parking rates and implement vehicle immobilization in the city of Laramie. All information relative to this matter is available for review at the City of Laramie City Clerk's Office at 406 Ivinson Avenue, Laramie, Wyoming. Anyone wishing to be heard should be present or may be represented by his or her agent at the meeting or via Zoom.
Thank you, City Clerk. Are there any members of the public that wish to speak to this public hearing? All right, we will close that public hearing. Move on to, we're going to do the next three all at once. I'll recognize each one individually, but City Clerk's going to go ahead and just read through them. And go ahead.
Okay. Notice is hereby given that a public hearing of the Laramie City Council will be held at 6:30 p.m. on September 3rd, 2024 in the City Council Chambers, Laramie City Hall, 406 Ivinson Avenue, Laramie, Wyoming. The meeting shall be held with both an online Zoom and in-person option to take public comments on the following. Original ordinance number 2089, amending the City of Laramie's official zoning map, establishing the ROB overlay zone for a city-owned property zone B2 located east of 4th Street, north or south of Shield Street, and north of Canby Street as proposed by the owner, the City of Laramie. Original ordinance number 2090, applicant Coffee Engineering proposes amending Laramie Municipal Code Title 15.16 to allow for narrower pavement widths for existing alleyways due during the final plating phase. And original ordinance 2091, applicant Coffee Engineering proposes amending Laramie Municipal Code Title 13 to change requirements of water and sewer connections at the final plating phase. All applications, plans, and specifications relative to these matters are available for review at the City of Laramie Planning Office at 405 Grand Avenue, Laramie, Wyoming. Anyone wishing to be heard should be present at City Council chambers or via Zoom.
Thank you, City Clerk. We'll open up the public hearing for original ordinance 2089 first. All right, I'm going to close that public hearing. We'll move on to original ordinance 2090. Anyone on that? Seeing none, we will close that public hearing and move then finally to 2091. All right. Close that public hearing. We're going to move on to announcements. Assistant City Manager.
Mayor, we have one announcement from the planning manager.
Mr. Gavatuller, please.
Yes, Honorable Mayor, members of council, happy to announce that we're engaging in a different method of public engagement this month. We'll be at the farmers market each Friday this month with the various arms of the Community Economic Development Department, Planning, Environmental Health, Code Inspection, and the Building Department. So you can expect to see us all out there on various Fridays this month, starting with the Planning Department this Friday, but it's just an effort to get out, be proactive about meeting with the public, and while there's not like a hot button issue out at the moment. So we're excited to engage the public in that manner, and that's all.
Thank you. Council members, any disclosures this evening? Seeing none, I'm going to go to the Vice Mayor to approve the consent agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that the consent agenda be approved and that each specific action on the consent agenda be approved as indicated.
Second.
Motion by Cumby, second by Richardson. City Clerk, go ahead and call the roll, please.
Gabriel?
Yes.
Newman?
Yes.
O'Doherty?
Yes.
Pierce?
Yes.
Richardson?
Yes.
Shumway?
Yes.
Somerville is absent. Cumby?
Yes.
And Harrington.
Yes.
That is 8 yeses, 0 nos, and 1 absent.
Thank you, City Clerk. The consent agenda has been approved. We'll move on to item 11. Councilmember Richardson, please.
Thank you, Mayor. And just a note on this, it looks like on the online document, it shows first reading, so I will update to approve on second reading, original ordinance number 2088, amending Chapter 10.36 of the Laramie Municipal Code to regulate parking rates and implement vehicle immobilization in the city of Laramie.
Second.
Motion by Richardson, seconded by Cumby. Chief Brown, please.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Council. I think this is my first time ever going first, so I'll try to make it brief. I think this is probably the topic that we've talked about the most in regards to law enforcement and enforcement in the city over the last few months. So it was a requested amendment. Hopefully, we got the essence of what you were looking to capture. And with that, I'll take any questions.
Any questions for the chief? Councilor Newman does have what I think became a series of amendments, but all to the point of what's in here. Okay. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Councilor Newman, you can go ahead and make any motion you'd like at this point.
I would like to move to amend original ordinance 2088, section 10.36.050 by adding subsection 10.36.350.c.1, except for residential parking, residential permit and handicap parking violation fines on the first violation paid within 5 business days of the violation will be reduced by 50%.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, motion by Newman, second by Richardson. Councilor Newman, do you want to, please?
It said fines for first and second.
I know.
Yeah, Councilor Newman.
Change that.
We did.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, so we'll go to Counselor Newman for an explanation, and then we'll come back to questions.
So I emailed this to Counselor Richardson, and she had, she didn't have like strong opinions on like the second violation. And then in my mind, my dad popped up and was like, first time it's your fault, second time it's not, kind of thing. So that's, and I wanted to split this up. So giving somebody, you know, obviously, we've heard from the public that people are doing this downtown and abusing the parking, so why should I give them 2 chances at a 50% reduction, right? Because then it's theoretically cheaper than what it is right now, so they're not necessarily learning anything. So that's why I wanted to, and we'll talk just this amendment, that's why I wanted to take the second violation part of it out, is it truly didn't make sense. And then I jumped on Facebook and I saw a guy from Fort Collins say he will never be back to our downtown because it was a straight parking fee. This is the first time this has happened, and it's not like other towns where he could just pay the, you know, reduced fee. So that was another thing that popped in my head when I started making this.
Thank you, Counselor Newman. Counselor Pierce?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I wonder if you could repeat the amendment, please?
Yeah, and Counselor Pierce, do you want verbatim, or do you just want to know functionally it is just to reduce the fee for the first citation, your first violation, by 50% if paid within 5 days.
5 business days. I wanted to clarify.
Business days. You're muted, Counselor. Counselor Pierce, you're still muted.
If you could just repeat, please, that would be great.
You got it. Counselor Newman?
I move to amend original ordinance number 2088, section 10.36.050 by adding subsection 10.36.350.c1. It's set for residential permit and handicap parking violations. Fines for the first violation paid within 5 business days of the violation will be reduced by 50%.
Thank you.
Any other questions, council members? Okay, I'm going to turn this over to the public. If there's any member of the public that wishes to speak to this amendment, go ahead and come forward in the room or raise your hand on the Zoom call. And again, your comments would be restricted to just this amendment. Okay. Seeing none, we'll close public comment on that. Any comments, councilors? Go ahead.
Honorable Mayor, just want to make you aware that some of this stuff we'll need to test with our software to make sure it meets the limitations. I've already received a concern that there might be a problem with it stating business days and not being fixed days at this point. So we'll have to test that and let you know if our software can handle that kind of a change.
Thank you. Chief?
Mr. Mayor, if I could add one more thing. So we're transitioning to a new digital ticket software provider. So we're confident that we have a potential solution if the ticket provider can't fix it. Maybe adding another subsection for the first one. So in essence, the amendment would stay the same with the addition of one other subsection to cite separately for that additional fee.
Thank you. Vice Mayor? If you have a comment.
I was just going to thank Councilor Newman for your work on this, and I think this is a genteel step toward compliance. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Anyone else? Staff, will you just bring it back if it becomes not feasible based on software? Or that, I guess we would change it to 5 days instead of 5 business days?
Honorable Mayor, through you, absolutely.
Thank you. All right, City Clerk, go ahead and call the roll on the amendment.
O'Doherty?
Yes.
Richardson?
Yes.
Somerville? Absent. Gabriel?
Yes.
Newman?
Yes?
Shumway?
Yes.
Pierce?
No.
Cumby?
Yes.
And Harrington.
Yes.
That is 7 yeses, 1 no, 1 absent.
Thank you, City Clerk. Back to Counselor Newman.
I move to amend original ordinance number 2088 by changing the rate for the third residential parking violation to $100 within 12 months and add each subsequent violation to the third column, to the column for the third violation of the chart. Sorry.
Is there a second? Councilors, last chance?
I'll second it.
Okay.
I'd like to hear your thoughts.
Motion by Newman, seconded by Richardson. Councilor Newman, go ahead.
So changing the $100 from, I'm going down to the, nope, it's 100. That was what you're thinking of as the downtown parking. So residential parking, we made 75, 75, and 75. By the third time, if you haven't learned, that's a problem. And after talking to the chief through and then discussion through the work session, discussion through first reading, and knowing that this is the biggest problem that our police have to deal with, I feel like the third time there should be a bigger violation. And then talking to the chief as well, there's actually kind of a loophole per se, because after the third violation, it doesn't say anything realistically after that. So that's why we wanted to add in that, the fourth, fifth, sixth time after that, it would still be that $100. So the only thing it's changing for this is the residential parking permit for the third violation to $100 instead of the 75 that was suggested. And then the third column, anything after 3 would be that price too. So I didn't change anything else of like the overtime parking downtown or any of that. This is strictly just for the residential, and my thought was if the police are going over there and dealing with that more often, we should make it worth it.
Thank you, Counselor. Other questions, council members? Vice Mayor, please.
Oh, not a question.
Okay. No questions, we'll go to the public. Any members?
Sorry,
Oh,
I
sorry,
did have a
Councilor
question.
Richardson, please.
I'm curious, I'm assuming that the software that the PD has will easily be able to track this, and it won't be cumbersome to determine like which violation we're on. Is that correct, would be my question.
Through you, Mayor, I hope so. Our vendor has said that they believe they can do that. I should have an answer this week. Otherwise, it'll be up to the CSOs who are issuing the ticket to track previous violations, which we can track in our CAD system. They would just have to run the license plate and then be told by a dispatcher whether or not they have had 1, 2, 3, or no violations before. So one way or another, we can do it.
Okay. Thank you, Chief. Councilor Doherty.
This is a question for the chief. So parking ticket goes to the owner of the car or whoever has the car licensed, I guess, right?
Through you, Mayor. So that's kind of where the second part of the ordinance change comes in, the immobilization. So as it sits right now, our only recourse after that fifth citation is issued would be a warrant for arrest for the owner of the car, the registered owner. So what we're looking to correct with this ordinance is so that after that fifth citation, if somebody's driving it other than the owner, then a boot or a similar object would be put on the car so it can't be moved. And then at that point, the driver would be unable to move the car instead of essentially holding the owner responsible, who may or may not be in the city or even the state.
Thank you, Councilor. Other questions? Okay, we'll go to the public on this. Any member of the public wishing to speak to this amendment? Raise your hand on Zoom or come forward in the room. Seeing none, I will close public comment period. Back to the council for comments before the vote. Vice Mayor, please.
It's just a little editorial thing. To refer to the column, I just wonder if that needs to be worded each subsequent, because the column may not be part of the ordinance itself.
The column is.
I think the column is, because this came directly from the chief,
Ordinance.
which is why we put it there
Mayor.
instead of
So
putting
when-
something else.
right here.
So then my question would be, when someone reads the ordinance, is the column adjacent to that? Or do we just say, and for each
Yeah,
subsequent?
it would be right here.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right.
yeah.
Okay. Counselor Richardson?
Thank you. I appreciate you, Council Newman, putting this all together. I am looking at this residential permit parking one. I'm just wondering, you know, if we start to have too many different things and concerns about kind of the system and what kind of time are we, if the system doesn't work, what kind of time are we taking from the PD to try to implement this, and $25 more, I guess when I'm looking at it, 75 versus 25 doesn't necessarily deter me perhaps. So I kind of lean towards just keeping it at 75 across the board for that one. I'm not, if everybody else is on board with 100, I'm totally fine with it. But just in thinking about
Thank you, Counselor.
the difference.
Thank you, Counselor. Any other questions before we go back to Counselor Newman? Okay.
I'm just going to counter that because I'm going to pay the $75 each time. That's like, and that's what's happening now with the $50. Even at $75, $75, it's still cheaper than getting a parking permit because we just bought one for Maddie. So that's why I wanted that third, just to be a little bit more as like, hey, maybe you should go get this parking pass because after the $75, you would have to go out, I think it's 4 times or 5 times before it's actually worth a parking permit.
And how much is the?
A parking permit kind of differs, like there's some parking permits that are like 200, don't quote me on the prices, but like $200, but it's like specifically one lot that you can park in. And then I think Maddie's was like 400. So.
Great, thank you for that clarification.
Thank you. Other questions or comments, councilors? Vice Mayor, please.
I'm in favor of third violation and subsequent violations remaining at 100. I think once you get to a third violation and after, it's defiance.
Thank you. Anyone else? We already had public comment, but we had none, so I'm going to invite you up. You're okay. We'll just need your name, and you'll have 3 minutes.
I'm Joan Martin. Joan
Joan
Martindale. Through you, Mayor, I just have a question. Are you talking city parking permits, or are you talking university parking permits? That I don't understand which parking permit you guys are talking about that costs so much. That's what I'm wondering.
The permits that the councilor is talking about are the University of Wyoming parking pass to park in a university lot. Does that make sense?
Okay, so is there a charge for the citizens that live in permit parking areas?
Right.
To the residential
Maybe $12?
people have to buy a permit?
Does anyone know I think it's $12 for your pass.
Okay.
So like in front,
I was just confused.
In front of your house, yeah, there's like.
Yeah, I was just confused about where that $400 number came in. I thought, whoa.
Yeah, understood.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Appreciate that. All right. All right. Councilors, any other comments before the vote? We're going to circle back to in order. Councilor O'Doherty.
So I just thought to clarify, we would rather people bought a parking pass from the university than park in the residential zone where people have paid for permit parking that live there, right?
Thank you, Councilor. Thank you. Okay. All right, City Clerk, I'm going to have you call the roll on this amendment.
Okay. Shumway?
Yes.
Gabriel?
Yes.
Somerville?
No.
Newman?
Yes.
Pierce?
Yes.
O'Doherty?
Yes.
Richardson?
Yes.
Cumby?
Yes.
And Harrington?
Yes.
That is 8 yeses and 1 no.
Thank you, City Clerk. Councilor Newman, did you have a third amendment? Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Councilors, then we're back to the main motion as amended. Thank you. As amended, back to the main motion. Any other discussion on the main motion for second reading? Okay. We will go then to the public on the as amended second reading ordinance. Any member of the public wishing to speak to this ordinance, go ahead and come forward in the room. Raise your hand on the Zoom call. You will have one more shot to discuss it in 2 weeks if it passes. Seeing none, close public comment. And City Clerk, I'm going to have you, actually, council members, let me give you one more shot. Any comment? Okay, City Clerk, call the roll, please.
Gabriel?
Yes.
Somerville?
Yes.
Newman?
Yes.
Shumway?
Yes.
O'Doherty?
Yes.
Richardson?
Yes.
Pierce?
Yes.
Cumby?
Yes.
And Harrington.
Yes.
That is 9 yeses and 0 noes, Your Honor.
Thanks, City Clerk. That item is passed second reading. We'll move on to item 12, Vice Mayor Cumby.
I move to approve original ordinance number 2089 on second reading, amending the City of Laramie's official zoning map, establishing the ROB overlay zone for a city-owned property zoned B2 located east of 4th Street, north of Shield Street, and south of Canby Street, in accordance with findings of fact and conclusions of law.
Second.
Motion by Cumby, seconded by Newman. Director Taney.
Mayor, Council, good evening. This item is on second reading. This is related to the residential for overlay zone for the city property, formerly the Public Works facility located on 4th Street. I really don't have much more to present from the last meeting. It was pretty straightforward. The one thing I will point out is we noticed in the title that we flipped the 2 cardinal directions, north and south, and so you'll see a recommended amendment to correct within the ordinance the underline and strike out in bold that you have in your ordinance that's attached to this second reading. And so that is the only request I am making this evening, and I'm available for questions if you have any.
Thank you, Director. Council members, anybody willing to entertain that motion? Please, Vice Mayor.
I move to approve an amendment to the title to state north of Canby Street and south of Shield Street.
Second.
Okay. Amendment moved by Vice Mayor Cumby, seconded by Newman. Council members, any discussion on the amendment? Pretty straightforward. We will give the public a chance to speak to that amendment. Anybody wishing to speak to it, go ahead and come forward or raise your hands. Seeing none, I'll close public comment. Councilors, on the amendment. Okay, City Clerk, please call the roll on the amendment.
Richardson?
Yes.
Newman?
Yes.
Pierce?
Yes.
Shumway?
Yes.
Gabriel?
Yes.
Somerville?
Yes.
O'Doherty?
Yes.
Cumby?
Yes.
And Harrington.
Yes.
That is 9 yeses and 0 noes.
Thank you, City Clerk. The amendment has been approved. We'll back to the main motion as amended. Any questions, Council? Okay, great. We'll go to the public. Any member of the public wishing to speak to this item can come forward in the room. Raise your hand on the Zoom call. Seeing no comment, we will close public comment period. Councilors, before the vote, any comments? Okay, City Clerk, please call the roll.
O'Doherty?
Yes.
Pierce?
Yes.
Gabriel?
Yes.
Shumway?
Yes.
Newman?
Yes.
Richardson?
Yes.
Somerville?
Yes.
Cumby?
Yes.
And Harrington.
Yes.
That is 9 yeses and 0 noes.
Thank you, City Clerk. That item has been approved. We are going to move then to item 13. Councilmember Pierce.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to approve original ordinance number 2090, amending Laramie Municipal Code Title 15.16 regarding narrower pavements, widths for existing alleyways at the final plating phase as recommended by the Planning Commission on second reading in accordance with findings of fact and conclusions of law.
Second.
Motion by Pierce, second by Cumby. Mr. Gabatuller, welcome.
Honorable Mayor, members of council, I don't have anything to add on second reading. Great. I believe it was presented well, and there was no questions on first reading, so I'm here if there any have come up.
Thank you. Council members, anything new? Okay. Seeing none, we will go to the public on this. If there's a member of the public wishing to speak to this item, go ahead and come forward in the room or raise your hand if you're on the Zoom. And I am seeing none, so I'm going to close public comment. Back to the council before the vote on second reading. Okay, City Clerk, please call the roll.
Somerville,
Yes.
Shumway,
Yes.
Richardson,
Yes.
Pierce,
Yes.
O'Doherty,
Yes.
Newman,
Yes.
Gabriel,
Yes.
Cumby,
Yes.
and Harrington.
Yes.
That is 9 yeses and 0 nos.
Thank you, City Clerk. That item has been approved on second reading. We will move then to item 14. Councilor Pierce.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to approve original ordinance 2091, amending Laramie Municipal Code Title 13, requirement of water sewer connection at the final plating phase as recommended by the Planning Commission on second reading in accordance with finding of fact and conclusions of law.
Second.
Motion by Pierce, second by Richardson. Mr. Capitular.
Yes, Honorable Mayor, members of council. If you remember, this ordinance has to do with the installation or the platting, rather, of water and sewer service installation requirements. So the requirement to install water and sewer at the time of final platting. This ordinance would remove that for non-residential developments. After some discussions and some recent projects that come up, staff would like to add residential developments over half acre in size in zoning areas of R2, R2M, and R3 for the same reason as the non-residential development. Multifamily residential, it's often hard to tell where the building is going to go, where the development is going to go. So we feel like the provisions and flexibility allowed in this original ordinance extend that to multifamily as well. We would offer that as part of this ordinance to piggyback on, and I do have a amended motion here for anyone interested in that, and as well as questions.
Thank you, Mr. Capitular. Council members, is there anybody interested in hearing Councilor Richardson? You can hand that to Councilor Gabriel and he can pass it around, I suppose. Thank you. Councilor Richardson, the floor is yours when you're ready.
Thank you. I move to amend original ordinance number 2091, including the updated provisions that extend the amendments to both non-residential and multifamily R2, R2M, and R3 zoned lots over half acre in size.
Second?
Motion by Richardson, second by Gabriel. Mr. Capitular, is there anything you'd like to add to that? I think you gave us an explainer already on it, but anything you'd like to add to the amendment specifically?
Nothing to add other than the applicant himself is in favor of these changes as well.
Thank you. Any questions, council members? Do you have a guess on how many units half an acre is?
Well, it differs, Honorable Mayor, it does differ in the various zoning districts. So when you get down to R3, I believe it's 4,000 square feet, or if, is it 4,000 or is it 2,500?
1,000 in R3, 2,005.
Per lot. I think that's per unit, right? Let me look, we can look that up real quick. We look it up every day.
Take your time.
Yes. Honorable Mayor, in R3, it's a 2,000 minimum lot size, so half an acre being about 20,000 square feet. We're looking at 10 units.
Thank you. Okay, cool. I just need a little bit of context. Councilor Pierce?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. My only question has to do with whether if Planning Commission is on board with this. And the reason I ask is the original amendment mentions as recommended by Planning Commission on second reading. So have they had opportunity, or would it be wiser to bring this at another time so Planning Commission has opportunity to discuss?
Honorable Mayor, through you, thank you, Councilmember Pierce, for that. This has not gone to Planning Commission, but the rationale used is similar to what was presented for the non-residential lots for all commercial developments. So it's really about providing flexibility to the developer. The applicant is on board, but certainly if that's council's wish, we can return to Planning Commission rather than make the amendment to the ordinance this evening. It's up to you, of course.
Thank you.
So, Mayor, can I continue?
Please.
It's not that I have a real objection with this at all, but when we have in our original ordinance, recommended by Planning Commission on second reading in accordance with finding of fact and conclusions of law, it just makes me a little nervous. Is the city attorney in the room? Can we?
Yes.
Can we do this?
City attorney?
Mayor, yes.
Thank you for the brevity, city attorney. Okay. Councilor Pierce, are you okay with that?
Thank you, Bob.
Any other questions, council members? Councilor Doherty, please.
Oh, how onerous would this be to just have that be a separate thing that we bring up to the Planning Commission, because the statement is that this was recommended by them, and now we're adding something. So I'm uncomfortable with that.
Thank you. Anyone else? Councilor Richardson, please.
Could that question be answered? Like, what would the process be? How onerous would it be for it to go back to them?
Yes, it would just be another process where we had to advertise for Planning Commission and then bring it back for 3 readings here.
Councilor Newman.
So it would be cost effective to do it right now.
He doesn't get a weigh in on that. That's your choice, Councilor. All right, Councilor Gabriel and then Councilor Pierce.
Too cumbersome, in my opinion. Let's move on.
Thank you. Councilor Pierce.
Yeah, I don't necessarily think it has anything to do with cost as much as it has to do with time. So as long as our city attorney is okay with it, I'm going to be okay with it.
Thank you. Councilor Richardson.
Thank you. Mr. Gabatour, can you remind us if the planning and zoning was in full favor of the First Amendment?
Honorable Mayor, through you, yes, it was unanimous. For those there, I don't know if we have a vacancy at this point, but those in attendance, it was unanimous.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. We'll go to the public then on this item. Any member of the public wishing to speak to the amendment, come forward in the room or raise your hand on the Zoom call. Seeing none, I'm going to close public comment. Back to the council before the vote. Okay. City Clerk, call the roll on the amendment.
Gabriel?
Yes.
Newman?
Yes.
O'Doherty?
Yes.
Pierce?
Yes.
Richardson?
Yes.
Shumway?
Yes.
Somerville?
Yes.
Cumby?
Yes.
And Harrington.
Yes.
That is 9 yeses and 0 nos.
Thank you, City Clerk. That item has been approved that amendment has been adopted. We're back to the main motion as amended. Councilors, any questions at this point? Okay, we'll go to the public on this. Any member of the public wishing to speak to this item, go ahead and come forward in the room. Seeing none, I'm going to close public comment. Back to the council. Councilmember O'Doherty, please.
I want to thank staff for reviewing and evaluating and amending, if necessary, the code, because we hear a lot of complaints about how things are too onerous, or I'm using that word a lot tonight, I guess, that there are too many obstacles to development. And so I appreciate that when somebody is dealing with these obstacles and they bring it forward, that you evaluate it and bring in the Planning Commission. So I think that's, good governance. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Other comments? Councilor, I don't think it's strange you're using onerous. I think we do. A lot of the items on our agenda are us trying to be less onerous, and so I think it might be an appropriate use of the word repeatedly tonight. All right. City Clerk, go ahead and please call the roll.
Okay. Newman?
Yes.
Somerville?
Yes.
Gabriel?
Yes.
Richardson,
Yes.
Pierce,
Yes.
O'Doherty,
Yes.
Shumway,
Yes.
Cumby,
Yes.
and Harrington.
Yes.
That is 9 yeses and 0 nos.
Thank you, City Clerk. That item has passed second reading. We'll go on to item 15. Councilmember O'Doherty, please.
I move to approve the option agreement regarding real property for Lot 7, Block 2, a replat of Lot 7, 8, and 9, Block 2, Turner Track Addition, or Lot 6, Block 2, Turner Track Addition, or a portion of either lot between the City of Laramie and AE Acquisitions LLC, authorizing the mayor and clerk to sign the agreement.
Second.
Second.
Motion by Doherty, second by Richardson. Director Taney, please.
No, only done this a few times. Mayor, Council, good evening. This is a request for purchase of a property regarding property that's located right off of Crystal Court. If you recall, these are a series of lots that the city has owned. Originally, it was 6 platted lots around Crystal Court. We, a few years ago, sold 2 of the lots to the Cornerstone Development, which constructed the senior housing complex. And the request before you is an option agreement with a full agreement to follow after this meeting at some point, where this group is looking to purchase one of the 2 properties located on Crystal Court on the other side of the street, which are the lots 6 and 7. They're given 2 plat names because there was a replat and adjustment for some of the other lots, and so that's why you kind of see the little bit of discrepancy there. So just giving you some explanation there. During the time of review of this, the development group, AE Acquisition, is looking to purchase this property for construction of a VA facility. This facility would serve our veterans within Laramie and probably the region, to be honest, with some of their general health care needs. This is not a full center with all of the bells and whistles that you would see for many of the things that you maybe see in Cheyenne or I think up in Sheridan, but this would provide a lot of your general health needs, everything from counseling services all the way to just your general checkups. I think eye care, things like that. And so this really provides that local need for medical care for veterans in this community without having them to drive somewhere else for that. And so the properties are fairly similar. You'll see that in the information that we provided within the ordinance as well as within your cover sheet. You have 2 different prices for each of the 2 lots. Basically, where we're at right now is they will purchase one of those 2 lots and or a portion of one of those 2 lots if we need to do a boundary line adjustment. So through an administrative process, we can't adjust the line between those 2 properties. They're just a little too early on in the stages of their planning with the VA to know exactly if they need to do that. But what we would do is any future agreement that would come before you as a council, we would adjust any prices accordingly if we need to reduce or increase one of those lots, depending upon which one they land. We've done this option agreement to provide them the option between one of those 2 lots. They plan to only purchase one of those, but it does give us some flexibility just in the discussions and negotiations with them before we bring you a purchase option or a purchase agreement. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Director Taney. Council members? Councilor Newman, please, then Councilor Gabriel.
I just have a question why one of them is $5.93 per square foot and the other one's $5.96. If they're similar, why is there a price difference?
If you look, one of the lots is a corner lot and one of them is an interior lot. I think that's probably largely driving some of that price. Now it's a 3-cent difference, so it's not a huge amount. I'll say on the lot that's interior, so not the corner lot, it's lot 6. There are a few easements that are on it, but not significant, so that could also be some of the reason. And so that's probably the 2 least reasons that I know of that's based upon the appraisal that we received. So
Thank you.
Yeah.
Counselor Gabriel.
Terry, I was just curious if they are optioning for a partial of Lot 6 or 7. Do you know about how much they're talking about?
Mayor, council, through you, really what it would be is a small adjustment between that line. That's really what we're talking about. It wouldn't be like half of the lot or something like that. One of the things that staff will consider before we bring you an actual agreement would be to make sure that we're not adjusting the lots in a way that disadvantages us with the lot that we will keep, because we would like to sell those properties as well. So we'll look at that, but we envision a fairly small adjustment, but it gives us that flexibility to move that line if we need to.
And then that would still allow for some kind of development, whatever it might be, housing or other.
Yeah, absolutely. That's really the whole intent. We're not going to do something with this lot or through an adjustment that would put us in a position where we couldn't use the other property for something.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Richardson, please.
And can you share, I don't think I saw what the anticipated timeline for all of this is, or is that too soon to know?
Mayor, council, I think it's a little bit too soon to tell you. Based upon the agreement, we would have a year to sign the agreement to actually purchase the property. My understanding is that within the next month, the bid package for this project actually goes out, and it's highly important to have the property secured through an option like this in order to prove that they can construct a facility that meets all the needs that are outlined in that bid package through the government there. So I would imagine that we probably could see something next summer. That would make sense, but I can't say that for sure.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. Other questions? All right, we'll go to the public on this item. Any member of the public wishing to speak to this item can go ahead and come forward in the room. Raise your hand if you're on the Zoom call. Welcome. We'll just need your name. You have 3 minutes.
Awesome. Luke O'Rander. I am the managing member of AE Acquisitions, the option purchase agreement that you have in front of you. Thanks for your time this evening. I just wanted to share, appreciate the Economic Development's office. They've been fantastic to work with. We've built 10 VA clinics in 36 months. We are the developer on the Casper VA clinic, located at East 2nd Street in Casper, Wyoming. And as of August 15th, we officially put shovel in the ground in Rock Springs, Wyoming. So we are the owner developer of that project as well. We have projects as large as 40,000 square feet in Abilene, Texas, all the way down to Rock Springs is only 6,000 square feet ground up. I'm so very knowledgeable and understanding of this process, and just wanted to say a word of thanks to your team and to your consideration on this. And don't know how this works, but open any questions you might have, and a picture if you're giving those out.
Thank you.
Thanks for your time. Here for anything.
Sure. Council members, do you have any questions for the developer? We appreciate you taking time to be here. Yeah, please, Vice Mayor.
This is just a question of curiosity. Did you all build the new clinic south of Fort Collins?
So funny story. The answer is no, we did not, but I know that developer well, and that was actually our very first project we bid on. It was the Northern Colorado project. That is a 65,000 square foot clinic. The Cheyenne Mountain VA manages that and also manages here. So we're very familiar with that process, but no, we did not.
Thanks.
Yeah, you bet.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Any other questions? Councilor Gabriel, please.
Yes, thank you. I was just curious, it mentions here a 12,000 square foot facility. Is that pretty well set?
Yes, I won't bore you with all the VA GSA requirements, but that is the, it probably will be 12,500 square feet to the exact number, but that is what they do. We also plan and budget for future expansion. So again, won't bore you with all the legislation, but the PACT Act that the Biden administration passed, the Trump administration passed, and then actually back to Obama administration, all of that is to put VA clinics of this size in community like yours so they're able to be seen sooner And so they don't have to go to Colorado or Cheyenne or Denver to be seen. And so, yes, that, even though it's 12,000 square feet, it will be able to be pushed forward. Yeah, thank you. Great question.
Thanks. Councilor Newman, please.
No question, comment, thanks for everything that you do. Bringing something like that to Laramie and in this region will be fantastic, so thank you.
Thank you. It's going to be, it's a bidding process, so there's still some trade secrets, right, things of that sort, but we have an extremely successful track record on this, and we look forward to bringing that in your community.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Any other members of the public? Thank you for being here. Any other questions, councilors? Okay, great.
Comments?
All right, we're going to go, any other members of the public can go ahead and come forward and speak if you'd like. Seeing none. Council members, any comments before we get to the vote? Vice Mayor, please.
I just want to say I think this is going to be a tremendous benefit for the veterans who live in Laramie, Albany County, and surrounding areas. Currently, they must drive to Fort Collins or to Cheyenne, and this will be able to provide a number of clinical services, medication management. So I think this is going to be a great benefit to our community, and I thank you for the work on this.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I couldn't agree more, and I imagine the council all feels the same. All right, City Clerk, please call the roll.
Gabriel?
Yes.
Somerville?
Yes.
Shumway?
Yes.
Newman?
Yes.
O'Doherty?
Yes.
Richardson?
Yes.
Pierce?
Yes.
Cumby?
Yes.
And Harrington.
Yes.
That is 9 yeses and 0 nos.
Thank you, City Clerk. That item has been approved. We'll go to public comments on non-agenda items. If there's a member of the public wishing to speak to the council on an item not on our agenda, go ahead and come forward or raise your hands on Zoom. Seeing none, I'll close public comments. Council, any future work session topics for you? Okay. Councilor Pierce, item 18, please.
Hey, thank you, Mayor. I move to adjourn to executive session regarding litigation, Wyoming Statute 16-4-405, lowercase a, Roman numeral 3.
Second.
Okay. Motion by Pierce, second by Richardson. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. All right, folks, I will see you all as quickly as we can in executive session. Thank you, everyone.